So I had 5 different points, like the recreation area, the people are nice, and the availability is what I called it. I said, in 3 minutes, I can be in the doctor's office or the hospital.
Okay.
I can get my hair done in 4 minutes. I can get to the pool in 5 minutes, unless there's a train across the track and it takes longer, and so on and so forth. And then I said, one more thing. Cars cost less than Wetaskiwin.
Oh, exactly.
So
Yeah, exactly.
they thought that was great.
Oh
yeah.
my goodness! I better go there and ask the kind of field that they took.
Yeah,
because
it was at the chamber office or the tourist
information.
Yeah, tourist information office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because that is exactly what I'm doing. Maybe I added some more question,
Yeah.
but if I give it to you, you have lots of question, but you don't need to worry about those questions because there are too much question in here.
Sure.
But basically, what I'm going to ask you is, because every city has their history,
Yes.
and then history give us a narrative, story.
Yeah.
So you can talk to maybe your son and your grandson,
Yeah.
and then your friends, your people who know about Wetaskiwin, how they start and what shape your identity, why make you so important for you, and then there is what kind of activity we do. For example, there is a core practice for So we're gonna talk about story a little bit. What kind of prime landmark?
Yeah.
We have a water tower.
Yeah.
How the water tower shape your narrative, your neighborhood, something like that. So very simple question. And then, do you think a city is growing? Why not? And then compare it to Camrose. Camrose is kind of growing, but
Yeah.
Wetaskiwin, we have 12,000 people
No.
for a long time.
Yeah.
And why not? Something like that. And then after that, I'm going to talk about. Let me see here. Give me a sec. There's some, behind. So I'm gonna talk about core practice. This kind of main question I'm gonna ask you.
Okay.
There's a 4 question, but some of the questions, this question could be maybe added on here, but we don't need to go, those.
Okay, sure.
Just
yeah.
focus on here.
Yeah.
Focus on here. So I'm gonna ask you 4 questions. So number and C is what the prime institution have shaped the city, how they shape the people identity and destiny, and then here is number D is how the city and neighborhood define success. How the people there's some agencies working for justice, and then. And does city promote God's vision for future? How does it shape the people imagination? Something like that. So I want you to take a moment and think about it, and then we can just go and then talk about.
Sounds good.
But basically, similar as you have done with the city.
Mm-hmm. All right. That's okay.
Are you good?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay. I know your name, so.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much, because this is more for my study.
Yeah.
I'm doing missionary theology
Sure.
place.
Okay.
Very interesting topic. Give me a sec. I want to take you a nice picture. I don't have any holder to hold you, so okay. This is my last course for my master, so I'm done. After this, there's one more, but
I know all about that. I did a master's too.
So you're a Lutheran, but you used to be a teacher.
Yep.
Where you?
Well, I taught here all my life.
Oh, your life. How long have you been here?
55 years.
55 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
I came in 61.
Oh, 61, 1961.
Yeah.
Even before I was born. Way before.
Yeah.
Tell me about a little bit about Wetaskiwin when you came here, 1960.
Well, when I came here, the city was 6,000 people.
Oh, 6,000 people.
Yeah. And the reason I came here is I was going to university in Saskatchewan at the time, and there was a professor that we had who came from this area, and I saw this ad for teachers, and I said, what would this city be like? Oh, he said it was a small city at one time, but he said it's got to be a big city now. And so I said, oh, okay. So my wife and a friend of mine, we get in my little car from Saskatoon and we drive to Edmonton and we come south.
Yeah.
And we're driving along and I'm looking for this big city. I see the water tower, and within about a minute and a half, I'm already through the city, just about. And I thought, this is not a big city. So what had happened is when the province became a province, they needed 10 cities. And the most logical place to grow was Wetaskiwin. So it was one of the smallest cities in the Commonwealth, 6,000 people. And
But they call it here city.
and it was called a city.
Oh,
Yes.
even before 10,000 they call here.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
And so that's what helped Alberta become a province, because they had to have 10 cities. And so Wetaskiwin was the most logical. So when I get here for my interview, I realized the superintendent interviewed me, and he said, well, yeah, this is a city of 6,000 people. But he said it's going to grow. And it did grow.
yes, yes.
It did grow while I was, in the first few years.
Yeah, yeah.
Eventually we got to 12,000.
Yes.
But I arrived here, my interview went well, and so I had a job, and I came back in the end of August and got an apartment and started teaching.
Oh, okay. What made you stay here? Because you've been here almost 1960, since 1960, almost 50 years, more than 50 years,
Yeah.
something. But some people, especially young people, they wanted to go city, and then you're really a good career
Yeah.
already, and then you can even find a job. Maybe Edmonton is so easy. What made you stay here then?
Well, that was my plan. I'd come here to this little city, and once I got established, I was going to go to the big city and be and really be somebody, eh?
Because we wanted to be a somebody.
Yeah, and as time went on, within a short period of time, as a matter of fact, we had a child, and then that seemed to be. I got involved with the community. I got involved with Kinsman.
Yeah.
Before I got even teaching school on the first week, a guy came along and said, "Look, why don't you come to a Kinsman meeting?" So I went to a Kinsman meeting, and I met all these people, and pretty soon I was a Kinsman and doing community work. And yeah, it's a great city. Loved it.
You
So
loved
I
it.
never did become some big wheel in Edmonton. I just stayed here, stayed as a little wheel.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your understanding about city. What kind of story does Wetaskiwin have? Maybe if you, for example, your granddaughter or son came to you. You living, grandfather living in Wetaskiwin, who living maybe down maybe in the United States. They ask you, Wetaskiwin, oh, grandpa, where is Wetaskiwin? Would you tell me about Wetaskiwin?
Oh, sure.
A little bit about for children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The history, of course, behind Wetaskiwin was it's a native name.
Yeah.
And they signed the treaty out here in the Peace Hills, and so that was called the Peace Hills. And then
Peace Claim.
yeah, they signed a treaty there with the natives, and so this became Wetaskiwin, and it's a native name, and that's the way it's been ever since. And then I guess it started to grow.
Mm-hmm.
They got the railway track coming through, and then people started to build on either side of the track, mostly on this side to begin with, and then eventually on the other side.
Yeah.
And then you've got the grain elevators and stockyards and things like that. And eventually it started to grow, and so then, as I say, they made it a city. I was quite amazed at how quickly we grew. When we started off at 6,000 when I came here, and they grew fairly quickly after that.
Yeah. So you were only 20 at the moment?
I was about 22 at the time.
22 at the time.
Yeah.
So what city, the story of the Wetaskiwin, how the story shaped your identity? Because I've been, so many places.
Yes.
And then when I was Vancouver, when I was Toronto, and when I was city, they shape my, different perspective and shape my vision,
Yeah.
dreams, something like that.
Yeah.
So I want to hear from you how the city actually shape you, your identity.
Well, the two things. Number one, to say being in Kinsman and doing volunteer work was one thing, and then another teacher served on city council, and he was finished, and so then I ran for city council, and I got on city council, and I spent 9 years on city council, and I was in charge of finance and public works, and I had a lot of responsibility as a city alderman, and the people that I worked with were great, and I learned so much about how things worked and so on and so forth. The city manager and I became good friends, and we tried. I always remember the public works guy came to me and he said, "Bill, we need something to get rid of the snow in the wintertime, a snowblower." And I said, "Yeah, we sure do." And so I took that to city council, and they said, "No, we can't afford that." And I said, "Well, there's a second-hand one that we can get, and they can weld it and make it work." "Okay, you can buy that." So I let Public Works buy this snowblower, and that's how we got started cleaning the streets.
Oh, how did it start to create?
Yeah, because we never did it before, eh?
Oh, really?
No, and so now we have a
But
snowblower, eh?
That was a big job, actually.
Oh, yeah.
One of the big job, and then give us a community, very kind of comfortable and accessible to the people, young people.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, but
Wow.
and then the next thing came along is the city public works guy. He said, "Well, we need to have a grader that has alternating wheels so that you can go around crescents and stuff."
Yeah.
And so I had to take that to city council. I had quite a fight with that because it was pretty costly to buy that. But they finally agreed, yeah, we need to have a grader like that. Well, you look at today and see the type of equipment we have,
Oh, yeah,
and the
absolutely.
modern equipment and the amount of equipment. But in those days, it was, the money wasn't there, and you had to be very careful about how you spend money.
Exactly.
And I was very pro maintenance for public works and making sure the city looked good. I wanted to make sure the city looked good.
Yeah.
I tried to make it a modern city. And eventually that's what it became, was a modern city.
How old were you at the moment?
How old was I when I got there?
Yeah, about, you want to, because
I would have been around 32.
32, but still young, but young man, and then, very passionate, make a difference in the city.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I served under 3 different mayors.
Yeah.
The first mayor was right across the street, Dr. Johnson.
Oh, he's still alive? Or?
No, he's dead now.
Okay.
He died. He was 100.
Yeah.
And then Frank Dick was ex-RCMP.
Okay.
He became the next mayor, and I served underneath him.
Yeah.
And then Dorothy French became.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had 3 of them, but Dr. Johnson taught me everything I needed to know about running the city. He was so good. I would meet with him and he'd say, "Well, Bill, maybe we should do this and do that," and so on and so forth. And so I got an education from him.
Nice. Nice.
About city politics and how to run things and and how to run a meeting and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm preparing this, and then while I'm preparing this, I talk to some kind of people, and then, do you think any person that you recommend me to talk? And then quite a few people tell me that you better talk with the Bill. And then I said, okay, yes. I was thinking of it. He's a potential person that was going to talk anyway, but I'd love to have him here. Thank you so much.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Because the story, even though I was not there at the moment, even though I was not even born, but I can imagine, how cities look like and how make you different in the city. I can imagine, share my identity as well. Yeah.
I guess the other thing about staying here was I came from a small town.
Yeah.
Even though I went to Saskatoon, and then I finished off my degree at the University of Alberta.
Yeah.
But I was dreaming when I thought I was going to move to a big city.
Yeah.
Probably my makeup and my bringing up as a child, I probably was a small town type boy. My thinking was that And pretty soon I became very comfortable here.
Oh, interesting.
You
Because
know-
yeah, I know